guys, what's going on? It's Rasati out here in Singapore, and thank you so much for joining me on the Night Owl podcast. You guys, hell of a journey. Totally thrilled, very, very excited, and this is my 1000th episode. You heard me correctly. It is my 1000th episode, y'all, and I can't believe I'm doing this. It is. Oh, if I look back, right, it was really touch and go there for a little bit because I told you already, I wasn't all that consistent this year. I skipped a lot of weeks. I didn't post as often. And then, of course, I had to play catch up. So that means I had to sit down and I had to really think about what it was I wanted to create, what kinds of content I want to talk about, where was I getting the inspiration from, what message was I trying to give. There was a lot of work going into it. But ultimately, I got my shit together. I did what I had to do. I got the job done. And I couldn't be more pleased. I don't even know what I'm going to go, aim for next year, but I got this milestone done. So thank you guys for all of your support. Thank you for listening in from all over the world. I appreciate Spotify having me on here. I appreciate Libsyn for being my partner through all of this because they're the ones who have been my third party that actually distributes all of my content. So I really, really am pleased, excited, couldn't be more proud of myself. With that being said, I'm not about to spend the rest of this podcast celebrating myself. I still have a message to deliver. So I was listening to E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. You know how I feel about that man. He's very passionate. He tends to yell, which can be a little bit intimidating, but I really loved the message I got today. So for those of you who do or don't know, I tend to listen to everything. I listen to videos on IGTV. I listen to podcasts on Spotify. I listen to YouTube videos. I pay attention. Avid reader. I listen to conversations in passing. I listen to dialogues in movies. I read books. I read posts. I consume. I really do consume. So I ran across this video from E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher, and he was talking about how he does understand where he came from, right? But he's not about to depend on pity for where he came from. I think this kind of ties back into the Rose in a Concrete World episode that I did about Tupac and his lyrics. But he understands. He is a rose growing out of a concrete world. E.T. talks about how he used to eat out of trash cans. He lived in abandoned buildings. So he understands he didn't have a dad in his life. His mom was a teenage mom, but he's not using any of that as a crutch to why he needs help getting to where he needs to be next. Because he's not the kind of person to stop and wait for success to come to him. He knows he needs to live up to his full potential, and only he can do that. No one can do it for him. So he talks about how he had to evolve to get to where he is today. He knows that he was not owed anything, right? And I feel the same way. So I came from a rather privileged background. I came from a family that was able to take us from one country to another, but we had other difficulties that I had to go through. I've lived through emotional abuse. I've been through sexual abuse. I've been through physical abuse. I've moved from country to country to country, and I've been bullied every damn country that I've been in. I've had a really tough time fitting in. I didn't really understand body image well enough to be able to stand my own ground, so I fell victim to what fashion says is beautiful, what the culture says is beautiful, what is acceptable and not acceptable fashion-wise. I went through all of that, right? And eventually what I realized was no one's coming to rescue me. No one's going to say, oh, poor you, here, let me give you a leg up. Now, a couple of people kind of did in a very, very small way. I remember the first time I was given a self-help book, and I didn't realize what it really was, but it was Dale Carnegie, and it was How to Win Friends and, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's the title. Gotta say, it came at the most opportune time because I was having a tough time at home and I was having a tough time at school. I couldn't find friends to save my life, and I was fighting with my mother like on a daily basis. So I was convinced that I was just not cool enough for anyone to even like me. I mean, my mom didn't even like me. We were fighting all the time. That was my rationale at the time. Trust me, I feel differently now. But at the time, this was a very eye-opening book. It gave me a lot of little stories, a lot of little anecdotes about how people have found a way to connect with other people. How to be relatable is basically what the book was about. And I couldn't have been more lucky because that was my leg up. But outside of that, little things like that, right? People are not generally going to come over and say, hey, here's an opportunity for you. They're going to talk to you throughout conversation, and it's up to you to pick up on whether you can serve or cannot serve, whether you can offer something of value or you can't. So for me, right, when I was going through this self-discovery process to figure out what it was that I was worth and what values I actually had and who am I in this world and what could I possibly offer, it was a matter of not only remembering where I came from, but understanding all of the things that I've lived through up until the point that I discovered myself again, to know me, to understand and appreciate the gift that is me. I'm not trying to be all like full of myself and I am a gift. Nothing like that. It's more like I understand that I now have this ability to relate to people from anywhere because I've lived everywhere. There is no such thing as a stranger for me, because once we start a conversation, I know, based on experience, I know that I can find something that you and I can vibe on, because I have eclectic tastes like that. I like all kinds of music. There are loads of genres of movies that I love. I love art. I love dance. There is an aspect of information that I just can't get enough of. So I love learning new things. So if I don't know something that we can talk about, I can definitely ask you to teach me about something that you love, and we can vibe on that. So I learned very quickly that I have people skills. I am able to start a conversation and keep a conversation with someone if I so choose. But it's because of those things that I realized that I can't sit around and wait for my ship to come in. I can't sit around and wait for someone to come rescue me. I can't sit around and wait for a success to just kind of pass me by so I can jump on the train and I'm there, I got it. I had to work for it every day. I had to wake up every morning with the intent, the sole intent of, I'm going to get through this day the best way I can, and damn it, I'm going to leave it better than when I found it. And I had this determination in me to make sure that I was going to achieve everything that I set my mind to, as long as I kept the goal in front of me. Now, I do get distracted. Y'all know I get into this procrastination zone sometimes, and I just not be feeling it. I would rather sleep, definitely, but I also know that if I sleep or watch TV, my life will kind of disappear before my eyes, and before I know it, I've wasted a ton of time where I could have been creating something instead. So came a point where the self-help books weren't enough anymore. So I knew that, there was a solution to everything. There was somebody who had an idea that, made it big. I read all that I could get my hands on. Eventually, there came that moment where I had to apply what I had read. I had to start applying to my life. I couldn't read about time management and then still be, late to everything, struggling to meet deadlines, just rushing from pillar to post for everything. I had to start implementing. I couldn't just talk about the fact or read about the fact that, I could be a multimillionaire with a side hustle because I'm an entrepreneur or whatever. I couldn't just listen to Gary Vee without getting amped up to do something about my life. So I decided to seize the opportunities myself, or create opportunities for myself. When I couldn't find the solution that I wanted, I had to create it. And so I've learned to become the person that I need to be in order to live the lifestyle that I want, which means I got to reach further every day. I got to push myself every day. So I know that if E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher came from that particular place, he's a rose in a concrete world, and he knows that he's not owed anything just because he started in a rough patch. He started behind the 8 ball. He's not owed anything. He got up and he went out and got what he knew he deserved and lived up to his potential. I did the same. I'm not done yet. I still got plenty to do, but I know that no matter what life threw at me, I've survived everything so far, but I survived it for a reason. There's a reason I lived through all that heartache. It's the reason I cried myself to sleep for years. It's the reason I went through a really difficult relationship with my ex-fiance and then jumped into a really difficult marriage with my ex-husband. There's a reason I tried really hard not to be a single parent, and then guess what? Here I am, lo and behold, single parent. But I'm making it. None of these things that I was afraid of killed me. None of them. I was afraid of what the outcome would be. And more than that, I was afraid of what people would think of me. So now that I've shed all of that nonsense and I've put aside the fact that, people may talk, because guess what? They're gonna talk. It's just a matter of if you turn to listen to them or hear them or answer to their calls, that matters. So here I am telling you, I'm not here waiting for someone to say, you know what, I owe you this, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go out there and get what I need to get. I'm going to become the person I need to be able to fit into my dreams. My dreams are a couple sizes too big for me. I know that. But that means I have room to grow. I have to become this person that deserves these dreams. And guess what? No one's going to hand me the opportunities. I got to either create them or recognize them when they pass by. I know I'm the hero in the story. I'm the author of the story. And nothing and no one is going to stop me except for me. I hope this makes sense, you guys. You got any questions, drop them in the comments below. But in the meantime, enjoy your new year, and I will catch you in 2021. I love you guys. Bye.